Hello, today we're going to do a review of Bay Lake Tower, which we stayed at last week, as well as cover the Contemporary because most of the amenities are actually at the Contemporary, and we've stayed at the Contemporary in the past, so we can talk about both. We're going to talk about the good, bad, everything we liked, and everything we didn't. So we'll start with the Bay Lake Tower since that's where we stayed on our most recent trip, and we are not DVC owners, we rented DVC points. So you will not hear us talk about the Top of the World Lounge, unfortunately, because you have to have a DVC member card to get up there. But
no access.
We did pretty much use everything else at the resort though, and then of course we spent a lot of time at Contemporary.
Yeah.
And you were saying earlier, you feel like you're really a part of Contemporary. It doesn't feel as separated.
Yeah, you're not like a stepchild off to the side, in these towers. Every day we were over at the Contemporary. Well, especially if you want to get on the monorail, you have to go through the Contemporary.
And if you want to eat quick service.
There's no quick service there unless you want to go down to the pool bar. The pool's nice.
Yes, the pool is
the grounds
very
were
nice.
amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about our room first. We lucked out and hit the jackpot. We paid for a Lakeview room, and we got a Lakeview for sure, but if we stepped on our balcony and looked to the left, we had a fantastic view of Magic Kingdom, and we were able to watch Wishes every night.
So if you look straight off the balcony, it's just lake. You had to kind of get over to the right side and look to the left, and then you can see all the Magic Kingdom. And that was nice because every night we're watching Wishes, and you can also listen to the music, which we knew it the first night we were there.
Yeah, we didn't know. We found out from another someone who watched our Periscope. We did some live Periscopes, and someone told us.
So on the TVs, I think it was channel 105, 104. Actually, when you tune to it, it says Wishes on the TV.
Yeah.
And during the day, they don't broadcast anything. It's just right when the Wishes starts, the music kicks
on.
in.
That was awesome.
It was really synchronized well, too.
Yeah, that was great. And that made it even more magical watching Wishes from the balcony. Now, of course, if you have a lake view, you're not guaranteed you'll be able to see the theme park like we were. But what I would recommend when you do your room request is definitely request a high floor, because regardless of where you are, you're going to have a better view if you're higher. I have talked to people who stayed like on the first floor, and they said they did not have a great view. So I would definitely put that as your main request. And then, of course, you could ask to be, towards that side of the resort. But we really enjoyed it.
We were on the
ninth floor, and I'd say anywhere from there or higher, you'd have a fantastic view. And I think we both loved the room itself.
Yeah, I mean, that was high enough too for the birds. They were constantly flying outside our window, just hovering, It was neat. Actually, when we first got there and checked in, I think we just sat there for a couple hours at the table, just looking at the view and stuff. Yeah.
Well, we could see all the boats coming out too. Like the ferries, the resort boats, the little sort of port or cove they come out of. It was right in front of our room, so we could actually sit in our room and watch them all come out, and that was a lot of fun. But the room itself, I think we felt was spacious. It had, we were in a deluxe DVC studio, and so that's the smallest of the DVC units.
There's plenty of room.
And for two people, it was more than like a small apartment. You had a queen-sized bed, and it does have 2 end tables, which to us is a big deal. You think it's not a big deal, but Boardwalk does not have that.
I will say
and one side not having's kind of
is really pushed up against the wall.
It is.
Because there was not much space for me to get out.
Yeah, since he's the thinner of the two of us, I was glad he was on that side because it was like tight. But the room otherwise felt spacious. I didn't feel crammed in, and I really loved how the kitchen was in its own room.
Yeah, that was different for us. We haven't seen
because the other ones we stayed in, the kitchen is sort of open to the kitchenette, I should call it. It's not a full kitchen in the studio. It felt more sanitary, the way it's sort of off from the rest of the room.
So you got a sink, microwave,
refrigerator.
A counter area, refrigerator, and then a bunch of cabinets with
and
stuff
some modest amount of dishes and cups and stuff like that. And there was also another counter in there against the other wall with a mirror for you to get ready at in the morning. Oh, yeah. And so since these DVC studios only have 1 bathroom sink, that's different from the deluxe regular rooms. They get 2, which is kind of strange to me. But since this does not have that, it's really nice. So he could be at the sink in the bathroom, and I could do my hair and makeup at that one that's in that sort of the kitchenette area. So I liked it. The bathroom was nice.
Yeah. I just had a random thought. So about floors, I was thinking about floors. I would recommend not staying on the 5th floor. Because that's the
Agreed. We talked about that. That's the floor that breezeway that goes from Bay Lake Tower to Contemporary is on. So it is high traffic because we would go down the elevator closest to us, which was at the far end, then walk all the way down that hall.
So for us to get to Contemporary, we would take the elevator to the 5th floor, walk that entire hall to get to the breezeway to connect to the Contemporary. So everyone's doing that, and then there's tons, every time we're doing it, tons of screaming kids.
That's what I was about to say. We're not loud, but every time we did it, there were huge families with screaming kids. And we were like, I would not want to be on that floor. Yeah. So that's a recommendation, is try not to stay on the 5th floor.
Well, unless that's, if you're going to, if that noise doesn't really bother you and you're going to go to the Contemporary a lot, then you don't have to hop on the elevator.
It'd be convenient. So that's true. I'd rather be higher though, I think, for the
it's good to know anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry
that's okay. But I think we were done with the room anyway. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. I don't have any remarks about it. It was spacious. It was comfortable. It had a nice table and 2 chairs.
It didn't have a Disney feel to it, I would say that.
I will agree with that. There were a couple
But that's a Contemporary, because the other Contemporary we stayed in
doesn't have much of a Disney.
It's kind of cleansed,
sterile,
modern.
Sterile. They did have a couple of prints on the wall that were super cute that had sort of an abstract Mickey in them or something like that. They were sort of futuristic looking. I actually loved them, but he's right. If you have small children, it's super convenient to Magic Kingdom, so that makes it a great place to stay, but it does not have that fun, hey, there's Mickey everywhere. It's Disney World, it doesn't have that feel.
It's a nice sized balcony. It had a couple chairs and a table out there.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the balcony. It was really great. And very breezy up there too. The first few days the wind was high in general, but even after the wind died down, it was still super breezy up there because of the height. So
I guess talk about the grounds.
Yeah, let's stay with Bay Lake Tower first. Yeah. So you want to start talking about
So they had outside a cool fountain, a long fountain
really
as
pretty.
You walk out from the building to, their grounds, and then the pool beyond that. And they had a bocce ball, which I was hoping was a putting green. But it wasn't. It was a bocce ball, which I was thinking that's kind of random.
People like bocce ball.
Bocce ball court. I don't know if you call it a court or
a green. It was a green.
It looked just like a putting green to me.
It did.
And then they had shuffleboard. People were actually playing
shuffleboard. We saw multiple groups of people playing shuffleboard. And then they have an amazing pool.
The pool was really nice. They had this
0 entry on one side.
Gas fire pit, which they had on every night, and we loved that. There was a couple nights we just sat down there, like while Carmen was in the hot tub, I just sat by the fire pit.
Well, and one night I sat with you at the fire pit, though, and they have a really nice, very large jacuzzi or hot tub. And compared to some of the other resorts, I think this is one on the larger size, because even with people in it with me, I didn't feel like I'm right next to a bunch of strangers. And he doesn't like hot tubs, and I do.
With strangers.
Yeah. So I like the fact that you felt spread out, because if I'm in there with a bunch of women, I don't care. But if it's like a guy by himself, that's a little odd in the hot tub if you're like really close. So I like the fact there was plenty of room to spread out. And then they had both a little kiddie slide, I kept calling it the Carmen slide, and they also had this is at the pool, not the hot tub, they had a huge sort of spiral.
I wouldn't say huge.
Large.
It was big.
It was decently large.
The one at Broadway, Boardwalk, that's big. That's a big slide.
The one that looks like a roller coaster with the crazy clown?
And the one at, what's the other, we stayed with my sister.
Coronado.
That's a big slide too. So this is, I would say, medium-sized slide.
Medium.
It looked fun.
Yeah, it did look fun. We didn't actually
never had a chance to get into the pool or anything.
The most of the time we go to the pool at night, like in the evening, and it was actually too cool on this trip. During the day it was hot, but it would cool off really quickly. So the hot tub was the only thing I could stand to get in at night because of the temperature.
And they had a pool bar there. The menu looked good.
It
did. Actually had shrimp cocktail in there.
Yeah, it looks really tasty.
To get, but never got to it.
Yeah. So that's and the other thing we should mention, that fire pit he mentioned and the pool are overlooking Bay Lake, and so it's a beautiful view. That's what made that fire pit so stunning. You're not just sitting around a fire pit, you're actually looking out over the water, and you can see the moon reflecting on the water. It's a gorgeous view. And the other thing that I've heard from other people is short of being on the first floor, there's really no bad view at Bay Lake. You know, at some resorts you're looking at a parking lot or something, but at Bay Lake, the way they built it, you're almost always either looking at the lake or you're looking at the theme park. There's not, or looking across the Seven Seas Lagoon sort of towards, you know, the other Polynesian and Grand Floridian. So there's not really a bad view from what I've heard except for the lower floors. So that's a nice thing too.
I just thought the stuff they're missing there, they don't have airline check-in, so you do have to go over to the Contemporary.
That's thumbs down.
It was kind of a pain because I knew we were going to run into this, that the path you need to take with all your luggage to get to airline check-in, this is when you leave. Of course, you have to walk through all the people waiting for the buses.
And they don't want to move because
no one wants to move.
For some reason, they think that you're going to jump them to get on the bus with all your luggage. Like, no one wants to part ways. So we had to almost walk through the bushes with our giant suitcases to get by all those people. So that is, to me, that was a big downer. They really need their own airline check-in, especially for that large of a resort.
Yeah. So I guess we talk a little about the Contemporary.
Yeah, so we stayed there years ago. It was actually before Bay Lake was even built. The last time we stayed
in the garden wing,
and we did. And if you're not familiar, so if you're looking straight on Contemporary from the front, Bay Lake's to the left. The garden wing is that sort of short.
Looks like Motel 6. It does. Because we would always joke, well, who would stay in that place? Who would stay there? We did.
And then we did because we found out.
It was really nice.
But it's a lot less expensive than the main building.
And the rooms were huge.
And it's less noise. And if you're lucky enough to get a lake view, which we did, you have an amazing view because you're right on the water. Like right on the water.
I mean, they were huge.
Huge. Those rooms are gigantic, and we loved staying there, and it's less than a 5-minute walk to the Contemporary.
Yeah.
The downside is you do have to walk outside. There's not a breezeway like from Bay Lake, so if it's pouring rain, I'd say that's the only negative that I could really think of, but it's so quiet over there. I really enjoyed it.
When we stayed there, a bunch of lizards in the hallway inside, so we're always wondering, do these lizards get inside the room? You know they do.
You know they do. Yeah. I don't know why there's so many in that one hotel. I mean, because we did. We saw
Right, it's just easy for them to come in right from the outside, whereas the other rooms in the Contemporary are closed in further.
True, yeah. So talking about the Contemporary itself, because whether you stay at Bay Lake or at the Contemporary, you're going to be using the amenities. So let's talk about the upside first. It has a lot of great restaurants. First of all, we're going to do a review upcoming of California Grill Brunch. We went there this trip,
so
and
just
it
a
was
little teaser. We
fantastic.
Loved it.
Yeah, and we've been to California Grill for dinner in the past as well. Again, love it. And if you save your receipt from there, you can go back up on the roof to the observation deck to watch Wishes, and they do pipe in the music, and it's a fantastic view, really amazing.
So the other restaurant we tried was the Wave ...
of American flavors.
We meant to go there for lunch. It just didn't happen because our schedule seemed to get crazy as we were staying there. I mean, crazy as far as hitting the parks, hitting what we want to.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That has something to do with transportation.
Yeah, it did. So we did two breakfasts there, and they were really good.
Yeah, they were really good. Well,
I wouldn't say like over the top good.
No,
it was good. I mean,
but
they were good.
I would say they were worth the money because it's not really expensive. It's low 20s, and then they took an annual pass discount. I think it was 20%.
Yeah.
And some restaurants are 10%, like California Grill, and some are 20. So this was a really good value. I felt like it includes your drinks, so like your tea, your coffee, your juice, and
if you do the all you can eat, so they got all you can
buffet.
Eat, and a la carte.
And so I would say, though, I will make the comment that for Brian, it wasn't as good as it was for me. For gluten-free, there was tons of stuff, and they would even make pancakes, waffles, whatever I wanted gluten-free separately. For Brian, a lot of the dishes you wouldn't expect to have meat had meat in it.
There's a meat fest.
The grits had meat in it. The deviled eggs had prosciutto in it. Yeah. I mean, they basically stuck bacon or prosciutto in almost anything they could.
But I still my money's worth. I had frittata, which was amazingly vegetarian. I checked. Always checked because even the chef had to check because she did say they mix it up and and so it was really good. That was really good. The egg white frittata. So I had that and regular eggs, smoked salmon, of course. I think Disney always has that on the bar. And then what else? Fruit. I think that was all, and oh yeah, potatoes. So that was it. But that was enough food for me.
And they had a lot of different fruit cups, like of various fruits. Really interesting fruit cups and stuff. So I feel like it's worth the money. And then the second time we went, Brian decided to order off the a la carte menu, and that actually looked even better. He got a rock shrimp omelet.
So the all you can eat was what, $23?
Around that,
something like that. And then the omelet was a Florida 17. Rock shrimp omelet. Was, I think, no, less than that. I think it was 15. I think it was $15.
Wow.
So it was a lot less, and it was a lot of food, and it was amazingly good.
A lot of food. And he does not drink tea or coffee, and so the fact that he didn't get a beverage included didn't matter. For me, if I got that, I'd end up paying $3 or $4 for a drink. So then it starts getting close to the price of the buffet. So for me, it made more sense to get the buffet again, which is what I did. And there's plenty of food for me on the buffet.
So for the omelet, even though the menu didn't mention it, it came with potatoes and a biscuit.
Yeah. So the other food option there is the quick service, the Contempo Cafe. Oh, and I should mention Chef Mickey's is there, which I think everyone knows. We do not go there because if you've watched our videos, we don't do character dining. But it's entertaining to watch the people going in and stuff.
We did see them rope drop the evening service, the dinner service.
And they do a big ceremony with the characters. It's very cute. But we did eat at the quick service, which is the Contempo Cafe, and I have to say, I was disappointed compared to previous times we've eaten there.
I was very disappointed because they dropped the lobster roll, which was the best lobster roll I ever had on the property.
Yeah, and for me, I have had gluten-free food there before, so I don't think it had to do with it being gluten-free. Nothing I had was remarkable. None of it was bad. But all of it was kind of mediocre. No, actually the burger was bad. I actually ended up throwing a lot of it away. It was really dry and not good. Not just the bun dry, gluten-free buns are historically dry, but the burger was just dry. It wasn't good. So
we did breakfast and dinner there.
Yeah, we did. The breakfast was okay. I think it was powdered eggs.
I didn't care for it at all.
Not a fan of. The flatbread I got was good. I got the caprese flatbread. That was good. It was gluten-free.
Yeah, so the breakfast.
Oh, and the salad. I would say the salad's the best thing I got. it was called blackened chicken salad, but it was not blackened chicken. It was plain chicken. I don't know why they called it that.
Well, maybe they had to do it plain for gluten.
Gluten-free, that's possible. It was very tasty. I think that was the best thing I had, was that salad.
Just want to mention that breakfast, if you're going to get one of those platters, I would think twice about it. If you got time, go over to the Wave. You're only paying, if you get the a la carte menu, you're only paying $3 more to get like the nice,
really great food. Yeah. So also I'll mention briefly, they are doing, since we're talking about food, they're doing a pilot right now at the Contemporary Bay Lake Towers and the Yacht Club. I expect they will roll this out to other resorts that have room service. So that's pretty much the deluxe and DVC resorts.
Because they did call us after we got it a couple hours later just to get our comments on it.
Yeah, and it's called Express Fresh. We did a one-take vlog, that means unedited and live type vlog. I will try to link to that over there about that, but that was awesome. It's basically like getting quick service delivered to your room for a delivery fee, and we go into detail in that vlog, so I'm not gonna cover it, but that food to me was better quality because my breakfast sandwich had a real egg, like a whole real egg on it instead of powdered egg. So I think that was actually a better money value as well. So have we covered the food? Is there anything else?
I think so. We didn't get full room service. We started doing that on our trips lately, if you haven't noticed, and because the prices were really crazy there.
We noticed that the prices were way higher here than at Boardwalk for rooms. I mean, way high. It was many dollars more per item, so we did not do it because it didn't feel worth it. We just go to the Wave instead, which is what we did. Yeah. So as far as
transportation, we'll talk about
that's going to be the negative. Sorry guys, we try to keep it positive, but the big plus is that you can walk to the Magic Kingdom, and it has, as of now, its own bag check line. Some days that's a good thing, some days not. One time we had to wait 20 minutes in that line. It just depends on when you hit it. But the walk over there is very pleasant. It takes about 5 minutes, and if you're coming back from Magic Kingdom, it's the first stop on the monorail. So usually we walked over so we wouldn't have to ride all the way around, and then we rode the monorail back because it's just one stop. That worked beautifully. I don't have any issues with any of that. However, to go everywhere else was somewhat challenging. I'm gonna start with the 2 bus resorts first. So Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios.
Oh, the parks,
to get to, you have to take a bus, of course, which is fine. But the buses seemed to not come very often. For it to be a deluxe resort, they seemed really slow.
Yeah.
And then they would be completely full, like standing room only. And then it takes them forever just to leave the Magic Kingdom area.
Well, I think that's the reason why it takes them so long to get to you, because just to get into the park area, it takes forever. I mean, those roads are winding throughout the Magic Kingdom area.
And lots of stops and yields and, traffic. Also, they share with Wilderness Lodge, at least at the week we were there. They were sharing with Wilderness Lodge, so they also had to weave over there before they came over to the Contemporary. And we should also mention the bus stop is in front of the Contemporary, not in front of Bay Lake Tower.
So if you're one of those people that you don't mind driving, or you're wondering if driving's the way to go,
this is a driving resort.
This is a driving resort, definitely.
It definitely is. And then the one that we disliked the most, again, we don't like to be negative, but we're just telling it how it is, was Epcot.
Well, our experience, anyway.
Our experience.
So, others might have better experiences. Maybe it was just the time of,
We just hit fluke, bad luck. But every time we took you can only take the monorail to Epcot, and that's our favorite resort. That's where we like to spend most of our time. And it was Flower and Garden, so we wanted to spend a lot of time there.
Every day we were over there, so.
And it took 40 minutes to over an hour every single time we took the monorail. And I'm not even counting the time waiting for the first monorail at the Contemporary. I'm talking about from the time we got on the monorail to the time we stepped out at Epcot. It took 40 minutes to over an hour. And I'm not even going to go into the details about some of the experiences were very bad. But it always seemed to be with the Epcot side of the loop. We didn't have issues with the resort monorail side.
Yeah, I don't think we ever did, no.
It was always with the second half, or having to wait a long time at the TTC, which is the Ticket and Transportation
Center. If you didn't know, you have to take the resort, what they call the resort monorail, which just goes in a loop around the resorts. You have to transfer over at the ticket center, walk down a ramp and walk up another ramp to wait for the monorail that goes over to Epcot.
And that was where we always ran into issues.
Yep.
And so we ended up on this trip, and I will put a link over here to our review of the Express Bus, because we also used it on our last trip. We ended up using the Express Bus so that we could at least skip that coming back. It didn't do us any good going to Epcot, but when we came back from Epcot, we could take the Express Bus to Magic Kingdom, get off at Magic Kingdom, walk out of Magic Kingdom, hit the monorail, and only go one stop to get back.
Which actually was a lot faster than doing the monorail.
Pleasant. Yeah. I mean, it was just so much nicer, because that's the other thing we noticed. The monorails were always full with standing room only. And the last time we stayed at Contemporary years ago, you usually had a seat. Right, so I think it's just the sheer number of people going to Disney World now.
Influx of people now.
Well, and also, Bay Lake Tower didn't used to be there, so there's tons more people staying on the monorail loop now.
They're increasing capacity of the resorts, but not doing anything about transportation.
And I told Brian, an easy fix for that is just have a bus to Epcot, and you can take either. You can take the monorail, or you can take the bus. And we would have totally taken the bus.
Because most people probably still take the monorail for that experience, which is fine, if you want to do that. But I want to get there,
Right, we would just rather be in the park. And, if it's your first time, the monorail is probably so amazing, but we've been there so many times, we just like to get where we're going. Yeah. So, anyway, that's the negative. Sorry for the negative, but like I said, that's just our experience, because we love Epcot. And so for us, I'm not saying we would never stay here again, but it wouldn't be our first choice for the transportation.
Very low on our list.
Yeah. Now, if you're driving, I think that changes everything. Yeah. So I know a lot of you rent cars or bring your own car. That would completely change.
I would highly recommend staying there. Yeah. Because especially if you love Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Or if you have very small children and you know you're going to spend the bulk of your time in Magic Kingdom, because most people with tiny children do not spend a lot of time at Epcot. So I think that you would be...
Those are all the crying kids.
Really, I think you would be really enjoying the convenience of either walking over or just taking the resort monorail, because like I said, we had no issues with the resort monorail. So those are both great options. So one other thing I thought I'd mention transportation wise, not a lot of people know this, you can actually take a boat to either Fort Wilderness or to the Wilderness Lodge from the Contemporary boat dock. So if you have dining reservations, say for Hoop-de-Doo, Backyard Barbecue, over at Wilderness Lodge, or you want to go check out the new Geyser Point bar they have there, whatever, that's another perk of staying there, is not only do you have the monorail loop, but you also have those routes to the other resorts. So that's kind of nice if you like to do the dining at the different resorts. Is there anything else that we've left out? So if you have questions for us, feel free to ask down in the comments and we'll do our best to cover it. The only other thing I'd mention is there's a lot of great shopping in the concourse, that's where the monorail comes in and the contemporary. We didn't spend a lot of time doing that this time, but they really do have a lot to choose from, really great shops. And we found this one shop we had never seen before called the Pink Fantasia shop.
That was funny.
And it's the closest shop to the Breezeway, and that's where you get all the food for DVC. Like they always have a store near DVC
that has milk, eggs.
Right, where you can actually buy some groceries and stuff. And so we actually went in there quite a few times to get some items. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. So I hope you've enjoyed this and I hope it's helpful to you. Did we enjoy staying there? Yes. Did we love our view? Absolutely. Yes. Was it perfect for this trip since Wishes is going away? Definitely, because we got to see Wishes from the rooftop as well as Wishes from our balcony almost nightly. But will we stay there again anytime soon? Do the transportation for us? I don't think so. Yep. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, we appreciate subscriptions, likes, shares, and comments. Bye.